Well, hello, everyone. Joanne Williams here with Anxiety Simplified podcast. And I really am here to share some powerful strategies with you that I've used with my clients of 30 years as a mental health professional to lower anxiety simply, that you can use to bring. And I'm bringing this right into your home or your own car so you can just sit back and listen. And hopefully, it helps you to feel less stressed. And I really want to thank our loyal listeners for making this all possible. So sit back and enjoy. I am offering a gift today. It's a frameable gift to really to celebrate our 1 year anniversary. It's coming up next podcast. I'm doing a special on mindfulness, but I really wanted to give you something for and thank you for being here with me. And it is a printable print of the 7 attitudes of mindfulness that you can put on your desk to remind you of the qualities I think everyone needs to seek, but maybe can't find in this harried American life, especially coming out of COVID. But I really feel like it can be part of creating your authentic self, your authentic voice that I see as something to keep us centered as we get back into the world and doing all the things that we used to do, but maybe we have some anxiety doing it. So what I'm going to do, this is going to be a shorter podcast. Next one's going to be longer, but I actually want to do just kind of an explanation behind mindfulness today and maybe how to use and kind of put this all together. And this is about Kabat-Zinn 7 attitudes to use and simple tasks in your daily life. So I'm going to go through some of these with you today, and you can see them for yourself when you print this off. But it's really what Kabat-Zinn says supports overall wellness. And these 7 attitudes are the foundational fruits of mindfulness practice. And he says by internalizing them, a variety of attitudes can flow into your life, like friendliness, gratitude, gentleness, curiosity, non attachment or non reactivity, happiness, and creativity, as well as all possible outcomes. These are all possible outcomes with practice. Other ones he talks about is attunement, persistence, and confidence and willingness. Being more in harmony with another human being is especially vital for helping yourself to feel less stressed and more internal peace. No matter if the kids are driving you crazy, internally you can have a quiet place to just be as chaos ensues around you if you can stay in mindfulness. So, number one, being non-judgmental of one's internal process is at the heart of mindfulness practice, and not judging yourself or not judging somebody else, but even to your own thoughts, feelings, or to the influences of that internal censor or critic. And just notice your thoughts, emotions, or whatever may surface. And let it be. You don't have to go to it and beat it to the ground. Just notice it and sit with it if you need to. But this can be especially helpful for recovering addicts who really experience an internal craving to use a substance following maybe a stressful day. But non-judgmental does not advocate that people just sit it out and go use, which can be harmful. Instead, non-judgmental encourages a person to just notice the craving and pay attention to it, but you do not have to act on it. Sit with it. and be in spirit of non-judgmentalness. And you can even put your hand on your heart if that's where you feel this, or put your hand on your stomach as you just sit with this and just notice it will leave. Mindfulness, especially if practiced regularly, can help us be more patient with ourselves and others. Patience teaches us to wait with grace. By cultivating this attitude, one can not only learn to defer instant gratification, but also to be gentler with ourselves when shame based responses attempt to sabotage good health, good practices, and creating good habits. Thus, mindfulness practice is a way to retain your cognitive and emotional responses and not react to them like anxiety, depression, but being gentle with yourself. The mindfulness attitude next that can really help retraining the brain is beginner's mind. The beginner's mind is approaching each new task with an open mind. Think of a sense of wonder that a child has attempting a new task for the very first time. With this attitude, one can remove an expert's mindset or refrain from living in on autopilot. So we're not even thinking, we're just doing. Look at it with curiosity. This one is I think is especially important for Americans is non-striving. Practicing an activity with a beginner's mind is a very effective way to practice non-striving. Thinking and feeling or acting with focus on the process, not just the outcome. The name of this skill confuses many people because, especially in Western culture, it tends to be associated with giving up. But non-striving does not imply that at all, or laziness. It's really about an attitude that encourages one, even in work, to refrain from fighting so hard, pushing against something to get it done. In fact, all that does is create more resistance. In non-striving, whatever happens, happens. Consider the saying, life is about the journey, not the destination, which epitomizes the spirit of non-striving. So kind of sit back and just experience something instead of having to allow it to come to you, instead of having to make it and do it your way. Allow it to become. The final three attitudes of mindfulness are also ideal for enjoying the journey without letting the stress of reaching that destination trouble us. First is an attitude of trust or having a belief in some unseen things that we can't see outside, but you can feel or you know is there, like gravity. So it doesn't have to be seen to know it's there. But you can also be just looking at your internal self, your higher self. But one can also practice trust in an outcome that may not be obvious during the journey, but by believing it is there and focusing on it, which is another important thing to reach it. And it will be reached when it is supposed to be reached. Timing is not ours on these everything. It is about a universal plan. So believing maybe in the universal plan and trusting that with belief. The next attitude is acceptance or coming to terms with really not knowing for sure, but not having a harsh or unpleasant way of being. It's just practicing a pathway to peace of allowing after you ask. And it does not imply you must like what happens in this, but it does have to do with that non-striving and not fighting it. Acceptance is internalized attitude of it is what it is. It will be what it's going to be as I allow and accept. This is that outcome. Maybe not what I expected, but it is what it is right now. Doesn't mean you can't change it later, but for now, it is what it is. And finally, there's an attitude of letting go or releasing one's grip on a situation, emotion, or person, or thing, or outcome. Letting go generally results in a freeing response, or at least the beginning of one. This response can clear the path for wellness and growth. By practicing tuning into yourself first, you or we all can be more effective with friends or family members. Nonverbal signals are sense of subtle shifts in energy and relational dynamics. This is why you want to practice this. This is why you want to listen to the next podcast on mindfulness, to hear the science about it, hear the practice of it, hear how simple it is to use in your life, because it really is about connecting not only to yourself, but to others. And there is no shame or fear in connection. Or it's really about noticing if you are feeling unworthy. But being connected, it can also just help you be vulnerable to others in that sense of caring from your heart and listening from your heart to them. And there can be a sense of belonging and feeling worthy when that vulnerability comes and allows that connection, because you believe you're worthy. Have the courage to tell your own story of imperfection, of being authentic, to feel your own personal worth as you look at this and connect with yourself or with others in a real basic human way, whether it's in business or at home. People really appreciate that. Or do something with no guarantees to feel authentic in the skin you're in, to practice and see your reactions with curiosity as a beginner's mind or as a child. And if defenses pop up, which they will, they are protecting you from your own inner feelings of fear. It's okay. I notice you, but push it aside. You're okay. I trust myself. I allow this process. And I'm just going to walk you through a way you could start this practice, maybe on a walk or doing the dishes. It's really about being in the moment where you are. And you don't have any fear or sadness about this as you practice. It's just a simple activity to practice mindfulness in your daily life. So let's just take a mindful walk. Think about walking. Each step is mindfulness as you just notice each step. Maybe look at the horizon during your walk instead of down at your feet. And just know you can feel almost like it's in slow motion as you experience this for the first time. Maybe you smell the outside. Maybe you do some breathing. We will combine next time in the next about breathing, the vagus nerve breathing that brings calmness to you. But look at even walking with the beginner's mind. Stand tall, let your heels connect with the earth and allow the front part of your foot to be pointed towards the sky, and then move it slowly down, shifting your weight, feeling that shift of your weight from the heel to the ball of your foot. Deliberately repeat this with the other foot. Each foot will continue this walk in slow, deliberate fashion, just observing the sensations with this new awareness of these 7 attitudes of mindfulness. And let your walk truly be an exercise in mindfulness, and enjoy it. And never is this a replacement for therapy or medical attention. If you need it, always reach out and ask for help. Or check out our other podcasts on anxiety and ways to deal with it at anxietysimplified.net, or to see this podcast and video. Or if you are maybe looking for an emotional support animal or a psychiatric service dog to go with you everywhere to give you some support if you have anxiety, you can go to esapros.com. So thank you for listening. We would really appreciate it if you would show your support by rating, reviewing, and subscribe. Please leave your review and tell us how this helped your life. Or please share it with somebody who you think this could help. And remember to practice. That's what these are about, is to practice to get a new result in your life. And don't hesitate to contact or reach out to us. We're here for you. Know that we are. And I want you to feel the calm as you do this practice today. And join us next time for the science behind mindfulness and all the ways it can help you in your life. Bye for now.